Welcome everybody, welcome ladies. How are we today on this beautiful sunshiny day here in Melbourne? So yes, welcome back to part 2 of my embodiment and nervous system series. So this is the second one. I'm going to be doing a 4-part series. So if you're joining in live today, please send a message, tell me who you are, where you're watching from. And if you're watching the replay, comment replay. All right, and if you stay to the end, I've got a little bit of an announcement as well. I'm excited about it. All right, so I want to talk about 7 signs that your nervous system wants an upgrade. All right, so when I talk about nervous system, I'm talking about there's 2 sides of the nervous system. You can be in the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. And a lot of us in our society anyways, with all the extreme amount of stimulation and our extreme demands in our work and in our family lives and everything, there's just an extreme amount of stimuli coming into our senses at all times. And if you're hypersensitive, if you are neurodivergent, this becomes even more of a thing for you. And so it's really important that we are constantly tending to our nervous system so that we don't get constantly stuck in that fight or flight response. When your cortisol is always high, you're always like on edge, right? So if you see me looking down, I'm just reading at my notes. So we can get caught in this fight or flight response, and your body never really switches fully back into the rest and digest response. And so we need to learn to flip that switch, and we'll talk about how to do that later. And all right, so let's just jump straight into it. So the first sign is that you can't relax even when you try. Even when you've done all your work for the day, kids are asleep, whatever, you've done everything you need to do, you're always still just like on edge, like fidgeting, overthinking, feeling like, oh, I should be doing something, I should be doing something, I should be doing something. What's happening there is that you're stuck in hypervigilance. You don't feel safe to relax. This is it always comes back to our nervous system kind of being very, I guess, ancient in a way, where you're always looking out for predators or whatever. It's literally just like that, like you're stuck in hypervigilance and you feel like it's not safe to relax. So if this is happening to you, you're stuck in that fight or flight response, you're always on edge, you always feel like you have to be doing something, like, you know, that's the first sign that it's time for an upgrade on your nervous system. So one thing you can do here, actually I'll show the practices at the end. The second sign is that you're hypercritical of yourself or others. Okay, so a lot of us, if we're hypersensitive, that can come across, it can be kind of directed at ourselves or directed out onto other people. I've got my coffee here. You guys can have your tea time as well if you like. So a lot of us, it's like inverted when we're hypercritical of ourselves. We're always like criticizing ourselves. We're always like, oh, like, why did you do that stupid thing? Or like always like replaying conversations that you had earlier and how you should have done it differently and how you're this or that and da-da-da-da-da-da. The list goes on, right? When you're always hypercritical of yourself and you don't give yourself enough praise and compassion and softness for yourself, even if you might be able to do that to other people, this is one of the signs. So what's happening here is it's another coping mechanism, okay? So if it's kind of like, it's like a fear of being seen fully. It's like a fear of, in Australia we'll call it that tall poppy syndrome, a fear of shining too brightly. If you stand up too tall, if you shine too bright, other people are going to target you, or that's the belief, right? If I speak out about something, if I stand up for myself, hi Mary Lou, lovely to have you here. If I stand up for myself, if I shine too bright, if I'm too much, too this, too that, I'll be targeted. It's not safe. Let me bring myself down. So the criticism will come in and say, you're too ugly to go out and do that thing. You're too stupid to go after that thing that you want to do. You're too this, you're too that. You could never do that. You're not good enough. You're not good enough. So that's like literally just a coping mechanism for you to stay small, to not try new things, to not do new things, not to go out, because where you are now is safe. Your nervous system, your body, everything has learned that wherever you are now, whatever you're doing, even if you're miserable, you are safe. You're physically safe. You're not going to die where you are. Whereas if you step outside and be seen and be heard, or stand up for yourself, or do all of this, the nervous system doesn't see that as safe. When we were back in like our tribal societies or whatever, if we were kind of rejected, if we were outcast from our communities, we would die. Like you can't live on your own out there with the tigers and the predators and stuff like that. So our nervous system is still wired like that rejection or being targeted or being disliked is literally like equals death. That's how it feels in our nervous system. Okay, so that's the reason why you're being so hypercritical of yourself. You're trying to keep yourself safe. All right. Is there anything else I want to say about that? I think I'll leave that one there. The other way, it can be also inverted. So if you're hypercritical of other people, okay, same kind of coping mechanism, just inverted. It's a fear of rejection, a fear of connection. If I connect with these people, what if I'm rejected? What if they don't like me? What if this? What if that? What if? So if I reject them first, if I'm critical of them first, they can't reject me. Okay, so it's the same kind of thing, like a fear of rejection, a fear of standing out, a fear of not being accepted. Okay, so that's the hypercritical piece. The next sign will be if you struggle to feel pleasure and or joy. Okay, so even some things that feel like they, maybe they used to be pleasurable for you or used to be joyful for you, sometimes you might just feel flat or not fully engaged, not fully open. It's just kind of like, And that's the reason why if you're hypersensitive and you're stuck in the fight or flight, you might be, or people who are neurodivergent already have like 7 times more, what's the word I'm trying to say? 7 times more capability. Someone give me the word I'm looking for, but they're very much more likely to have addiction, to have addictive personalities. So this might show up as sugar addiction because you're not able to feel basic normal pleasure anymore, like normal sensory things that can just feel relaxing and pleasurable. You've kind of disconnected yourself from that, so you kind of need more and more stimuli. So again, it's this kind of weird thing where your body is protecting you from overstimulation, but at the same time, it kind of inverts, and then you end up needing more stimulation, more constant, to be always entertained, to be always doing something, right? So learning how to tap back into pleasure and joy for the simple things is super important. The next one is overthinking and always second guessing your own decision and not being able to be decisive. This is the same kind of thing. So self-doubt, paralysis, perfectionism. It's still that survival brain going, what if? What if it's not good enough? What if it's this? What if it's that? What if I make the wrong decision, right? It's the same coping mechanism. And the next one will be, you always have to be busy. You always need to be doing something. This is similar to like you can't relax. Busy, 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 like always on the move, always on the go, always fast and rushing around. Okay, so, and busy doesn't necessarily mean productive either. It's like, I know this happens to me still, but it used to happen a lot more where I would just like, let's say, cleaning the house. I've like literally been running around in circles, manically like cleaning and rushing, and I look around, I'm like, oh my God, like nothing's done. So I was just, for no reason, I was like on edge, stressing, trying to do all this thing because I'm stuck in that, stuck in the hypervigilance, stuck in the fight or flight response. So you always feel like you have to be moving, always feel like you have to be on the go, always feel like you have to be productive. And so that the productivity and the busyness becomes another coping mechanism because it doesn't feel safe to slow down. It doesn't feel safe to be still. It doesn't feel safe just to be in your body and be and sit. So that's number, oh, I wasn't keeping track of which numbers they were. I think that was about 7. All right, guys. So all of these different symptoms, all of these different things are your nervous system signaling for you that you are not able to fully switch back between the fight and flight and rest and digest response. That response is a very normal response, and a normal healthy nervous system will definitely go into fight or flight when you need it, and then it will go back to the safety. The problem is our switch is always like stuck on this side and it doesn't revert back to safety. It's like, even if you find that safety for a quick minute, it like reverts back, like its baseline is back in the fight or flight. We want to get to a point where we're constantly bringing it back to safety, bringing it back to safety, bringing it back to safety until, you know, it starts to level out that safety is your new baseline, okay? That's the goal here. So a lot of these practices that you can do, sometimes there will be, you know, a long practice that you do, but a lot of the times you're looking at like 2-minute things that you can do on a regular basis, things you can do while driving your car, sitting at the steering wheel, like that you do during your day. So this is what I loved about it as well, because silent meditation, for instance, never really worked very well for me. I really, really tried. I sucked at it. Like, that's what it is. I could never keep that up as a practice, to sit down and be still and be quiet and just like look at my thoughts for 10, 15, 20 minutes on a regular basis, enough that it was going to be helpful for me. But the reason why I love these different practices, the nervous system safety, embodiment practices, is you can do them during your day. You don't have to always set out a big chunk of time. It is good to, especially at the start, when you're you know, really trying to retrain your nervous system, to do some regular longer practices, but a lot of it can be done in 2 minutes during your day. Quick 2-minute check-in here, quick 2-minute check-in here. All right. So, okay, so I have the last thing I want to say here. If anyone has any questions, feel free to ask them. You can also ask them in the replay, and I will answer them in the next section. I'm just trying to feel if there's anything else I would like to say here. I think those are the big ones. Yeah. All right. Beautiful. So, okay, a little bit of an announcement that I have now. So if this resonates with you guys, if you have felt this in your own life and you are kind of like, how do I just be? How do I just feel confident and safe and happy in my skin and not always be stressing and overthinking and overstimulated and all of these things? I work on all of these different things in my new program I've got coming out. I'm very excited about it. I've been working really hard in the background, building out the modules, doing so many things in the background, getting the systems running. And I'm launching my 6-week beta coaching program. I plan to only run this one time, only for 6 women, for 6 weeks. Once I've run that through, I'll run the full 12-week program, all right? So if all of these things are resonating with you, if all of these things you're like, yeah, I want to get on top of this, I want to have that really kind, rather than that criticizing, I want to have that kind, loving, trusting relationship with myself. I want to be able to relax. I want to be able to be. I want to be able to feel confident to do the things that I want to do in my life. Then I'm inviting you, send me a DM if you like. I'm giving 30-minute sessions away. And in this session, we'll talk a bit about what you're experiencing now, where you would like to be, and talk a bit about a roadmap of how to get there. And then I'll explain to you what the program's about and everything like that. And if you're a good fit, then we'll tee it up. Okay, so if this was really resonating with you, go ahead and send me a breakthrough in the DMs or in the comments, and I'll be in touch. So thank you so much for tuning in today, guys. I really appreciate it. And also, if you haven't joined my Facebook group yet, go ahead and do that. It's Becoming Her. If you can't find it, just send me a DM and I'll add you. And definitely try the free resources I have in there, guys. I made a meditation. I've made this future self embodiment meditation. I worked really hard on it and I love it. I think you guys are going to love it too. So definitely check that out. It's linked in the welcome video in the group. And there's also another free resource there. It's called the Self-Sabotage to Self-Trust journaling series. So it's like guided journaling prompts, all about self-sabotage, coming to self-trust. So I think you're gonna love that. Definitely check that out. And one last thing as well, I am gonna go live tomorrow night, Friday, 9:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. And we're gonna do some body love rituals, some bedtime body love rituals. Just like probably like a 10-minute ritual, whether it's like a breathing, a moving exercise, just some nervous system regulating activities that you can do before bed so that you can have a proper sleep and not be in that stress state while you're asleep and wake up wired and all of those things. Okay, lovers, thank you so much for tuning in. Please send me any questions or comments or tell me your experiences with this. I would love to hear it. Have a good day. Bye.